without context.
The parts of a text or statement that surrounds a particular word or passage and determines its meaning.
Meaning can be manipulated. Few know that, like Angela Harris, whose phone flooded during football the first weekend of the NFL season.
A couple people who reached out to me were actually like, "Oh, Angela, I saw you in a commercial. Congratulations." And I was like, "Oh, that's weird because I didn't do a commercial."
And unbeknownst to her, she was in one.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the Afro-American people.
Just 5 seconds of a 1-minute commercial.
And then that's when people started to realize that this actually wasn't a good thing.
The subject of the spot, critical race theory, CRT for short.
Yeah, you can make friends, no matter what color they are. So we need to stop CRT, period.
The foundation of critical race theory dates back to the 1970s. According to scholars, the goal of CRT is to seek an understanding of the way race and racism shape U.S. laws and institutions. In the ad, not only does a father take a stand against CRT,
Daddy teaches you can be anything in this world that you want to be, right? Don't Daddy teach you that?
Yeah, and it doesn't matter if you're black or white or any color.
See, this is how children think right here. Critical race theory wants to end that.
His video is placed adjacent to the clip of Angela Harris.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the Afro-American people.
Not with my children. It's not gonna happen.
What the commercial does not explain, though, is essential. So let's get the facts. Yes, Angela Harris is an elementary teacher, but no, she does not teach critical race theory. In fact, Milwaukee Public Schools rebuked the commercial, telling 12 News the ad utilizes video out of context and spreads misinformation about Milwaukee Public Schools and its curriculum, adding MPS does not teach critical race theory. The commercial correctly identifies the school where Harris recorded her video, the Martin Luther King Jr. School. But the spot does not tell viewers the school has an African-American immersion curriculum.
It's very similar to a French immersion school or a German immersion school, except for our school isn't a language immersion, it's a cultural immersion school.
The immersion program's design, according to Harris, was to address academic disparities among black students.
One solution to that was by creating a school that would immerse children in black and African culture, where it would be a part of the curriculum.
As for the pledge Harris is leading,
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the Afro-American people.
it too has valuable context.
First, we do the Pledge of Allegiance to the American flag, and then we do the Pledge of Allegiance to the Pan-African flag, which was created by Marcus Garvey. And in that pledge, we talk about how we want to seek peace, generate unity, and take care of our community.
Here's the rest of that pledge.
Under God, I will protect freedom, seek peace, honor our ancestors, and encourage and support the development and prosperity of people of African descent.
But that's not all the commercial conceals. The video in Harris's classroom she recorded in 2022. The video of the father and daughter first went viral in 2021. That father is Corey Yeshua, a conservative social media influencer. 12 News reached out on multiple platforms for his response to the ad, but we have yet to hear back. For Harris, though, the damage was done.
I cried because I was just really disheartened to see what I do and love used in a manner like this.
Did you ever foresee this kind of obstacle or adversity in your career path as an educator, loving children?
If you would have told me when I was going to school to get my bachelor's degree in early childhood education that I would have to deal with something like this, I would have thought that you were crazy.
The group behind the commercial is called Be Good to Kids. We discovered it's based in Ohio, run by Cincinnati lawyer David Langdon. I reached out to Langdon Law to ask about the ad and its use of Harris's video, but we got no reply.
For folks who see this ad and may have an opinion, tell me who the real Angela Harris is.
So the real Angela Harris is a teacher who wants all of her children to thrive and be successful. One of the things that I talk to my scholars about all the time is this idea of integrity. Always doing the right thing even when no one is looking, and that's who Angela Harris is.
And the first time Harris's video got traction, she says a conservative group also used it to spread misinformation. She says that event led to critics doxing her, essentially posting her personal and private information like her home address online. She hired a service to clear that information from digital platforms, but says this latest misuse of her video has renewed concern for her personal safety and that of her family. Patrick.
And you're taking a deeper look into the group responsible for that ad.
Yeah, we reached out to Langdon Law LLC in Cincinnati. We didn't get a response, but that's not going to stop us from looking into this company, into this ad, Be Good to Kids LLC, and its mission with this particular advertisement here in Milwaukee.
And we know you'll keep us posted. Derek Rose reporting. Derek, thank you.